people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. Ahead of her upcoming world title fight with former world champion Sarah Mahfoud, Eddie Hearn believes Skye Nicholson could become one of boxing's biggest stars in women's boxing. It's a first world title shot for Aussie star Skye Nicholson on April 6th in Las Vegas as the 2020 Olympian battles Denmark's Sarah Mahfoud for the WBC Featherweight Championship. The title was recently relinquished by Amanda Serrano, a move that everybody except Nicholson was surprised by. Nearly a year ago, she was like, I want to fight Amanda Serrano. Promoter Eddie Hearn told the Punch podcast. I was like, wow, where does that come from?
It's helped her.
I think that's a big part of the reason Skye Nicholson has more of a profile than many of the unbeaten up-and-comers at this weight, and there are quite a few. There's Raven Chapman, there's Karis Ardingstall, there's Sophia Leash, Sarah Liegman, Ebony Jones,
Tiara Brown.
But the fight fans, the casual ones, they can probably only name two featherweights off the top of their heads. One is Amanda Serrano, of course, the woman to beat at this weight, and Skye Nicholson, the woman who wants to beat her, though likely won't get the chance. When she got into the mandatory position, she said to me, I'm telling you now, Amanda Serrano won't fight me. I think they know I've got the style to beat her. The mandatory got called, and Amanda Serrano vacated the title, and I was like, wow, you were right.
I don't begrudge Skye Nicholson her ambition. I don't begrudge her wanting to fight Amanda Serrano. That's the job. That's what she's supposed to do.
But if she thinks Amanda Serrano is running scared from her, she's got another thing coming. In fact, the worst thing that could have happened to Skye Nicholson was actually landing the Serrano fight, because she doesn't have the power to keep her off,
the experience to deal with the pace,
or the style, contrary to her opinion. Nicholson was then ordered to face the next highest-ranked available contender in Sarah Mahfoud, who dropped a decision to Serrano in September of 2022. Mahfoud wanted it in a neutral territory. She wanted the opportunity to fight in Las Vegas. It was a great place for Skye to fight as well. April 6th, what a chance for Skye Nicholson.
What do you mean she doesn't have the style for Amanda?
Skye's a pure boxer. Stays on her toes, moves around, keeps it long and loose and on the outside, and she's economic.
What's that mean?
She doesn't throw a lot of punches. Fighters fighting on their toes, moving around. They're not sitting on their shots, they're not sitting on their punches, so there's not as much power on them.
Because she's not throwing that many punches, there's not a whole lot to keep Amanda Serrano out and off of Skye Nicholson. So stylistically,
it's the opposite of what Skye Nicholson is saying. Stylistically, she'd be at a great disadvantage, but the saving grace for her is that the fight's not going to happen, and she did get some press out of it. She got some press out of calling her out. There were hopes of staging the fight she's about to have,
the fight with Sarah Mahfoud.
In Skye Nicholson's native Australia, and Hearn has clarified that fighting down under is still the goal for Skye later this year if she wins a WBC title. We hope this will be the catalyst to bring Skye Nicholson home as a world champion. I want to see her headlining in the Gold Coast,
Brisbane, Melbourne.
Skye is massively underrated because of the style. When you look at her amateur pedigree and what she's achieved, she's had 150 amateur fights. She's been boxing since her early teens, and of course, her family is engrossed in the sport of boxing. Commonwealth Games gold medalist, World Amateur bronze medalist, Olympian. She achieved nearly everything in her amateur code. She's getting better and better, stronger and stronger. She got her first stoppage last time out. Michaela Mayer couldn't do that to Lucy Wildheart, 2 divisions above. Hearn says Nicholson can be one of the faces of women's boxing. She's got a chance to be a real star. You talk about Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields. Skye's got a chance to start joining the conversation to be in that club, and I just so happen to agree. She's got the ceiling, she's got the talent, but she also has the backing, the promotional outfit, and the platform. And more importantly, she's got the rivals.
You can campaign at a given weight and collect every single title, every single belt there is to collect. But without the memorable fights, without the memorable rivalries, it just doesn't have the same effect. Think of Clarissa Shields' campaign at 168 or campaign at 154.
Most people don't remember who she fought at those weights. The fights that they remember, the Hannah Gabriel's fight where she got knocked down, the Savannah Marshall fight, which was a fan-friendly fight. Those are the fights that people remember.
The rivalries.
The Christina Hammer fight as well, that was a rivalry. The caveat for Clarissa is that there's not a lot of girls up there. Not a lot of girls, not a lot of talented ones. Where at featherweight, there's a lot of talented fighters.
It's not just Sky. That's a deep division.
The way she's progressing, the way she's getting more aggressive in her fights, she can win the belt against Mahfoud and do a job on her. That's a massive statement. She's got the benefit and the blessing of being a real global star. She's got a big following in the UK, US, and Australia.
So does Sky Nicholson have what it takes to be a star?
Short answer, yes. She has to tweak her style a bit. She has to tweak that so she can be a more fan-friendly fighter because pure boxers...
The audience don't tend to like those.
But she is working on it, and that's what we saw in her last fight with Lucy Wildheart, letting her hands go more, stepping into her punches and showing some spite, piling on the damage.
She can be a star.
I reiterate, she's in a very deep division, so there are any number of very good fights out there for her.
I think the general consensus is that Anthony Joshua is the overwhelming favourite, and he should be. Let's be honest. Speed, boxing ability, amateur pedigree. Is a former two-time world unified heavyweight champion. So really, he shouldn't be in the ring in a competitive capacity with somebody who's making his second fight as a professional. But we're dealing with Francis Ngannou, and we saw what he did against Tyson Fury. He gave him a tough fight. Now, listen, if AJ doesn't beat Ngannou, I think it's game over on his career. He's got to beat this guy because, and when he beats him, by the way, because I think he's probably going to win, like most people do. When he does beat him, I don't think he's going to get great credit for it because he's beating a guy who's already lost to Fury, although a lot of people thought he won. But he's beating a guy who's making his second professional boxing match. So he's not going to get massive respect for that. So this is a proper tough sort of situation that Anthony Joshua's put himself in. Obviously, he's getting the bunts from the Saudi dough. He's obviously getting paid very well. I think it's 50 million to AJ and 20 million to Ngannou. Fair play to Ngannou from where he's come from. But this is a fight that shouldn't really be that competitive, but we think it's going to be because of how Ngannou...
I think that Carl Froch is moving the goalpost here a bit.
He is.
I think he raised some valid points that, yes, Anthony Joshua needs to win, and he needs to win in good fashion, but no more than Tyson Fury did, a sitting champion, an unbeaten one.
Some people don't even think Fury won that fight.
Some people think Francis should have got the decision. Some people think Francis did enough to win, but he didn't get the nod. When the bar is set so low by someone who's supposed to be better than Anthony, when Tyson Fury just ekes by Francis Ngannou, doesn't drop him, doesn't stop him, and the bar is set so low, don't start adding on things when it's Anthony's turn.
Don't make it more than what it is for Anthony than you made it for Tyson Fury.
It's fight week, and what I think we're seeing from some is an active effort to move the goalpost because they don't want to give Anthony Joshua credit. If he goes in there and does the job on Francis that Tyson Fury didn't do, that's what I think this is, that underneath it all, they think Anthony's going to win, and they think he's going to win in good fashion, and they don't like what that means, because what that could mean...
He's better than Fury.
He's more consistent. He takes the assignment seriously. He's not in there fucking around like Fury was fucking around. So don't get on your soapbox now sermonizing about how Anthony's got to do this and Anthony's got to do that. When Tyson Fury fought this guy...
He sat out most of the year.
When Tyson Fury fought this guy, the undisputed title fight was delayed because they couldn't reach an agreement or whatever it was. It fell apart. And this was the only fight that he had last year, where Anthony was a lot more prolific. He fought 3 times last year. This week's fight will be the 4th fight he's had in just 11 months.
What are you so critical about?
It's not like he's going to fight Francis Ngannou and then take the rest of the year off. He wants to be active. He wants to be busy. He wants to fight more than just once a year. And because the fight is happening in the first quarter of the year, that leaves the rest of it open for other fights. Say, another fight in the summer, then one in the fall or winter months to cap the year off. He can do that.
So don't make this more than what it is.
And Carl, spare me. Because if you were still an active fighter and they were going to pay you a boatload of cash to box some MMA guy with only one pro fight, for the money they're giving Anthony, you would do the exact same thing. In fact, many boxers would.
Every boxer would.
Anthony Joshua is set to make a reported $50 million from this fight. You're telling me you'd stand on principle, you wouldn't take the 50 mil?
Bullshit.
It's bullshit and you know it. So what are you so hypocritical about? Whenever Anthony Joshua's involved, they hold him to a higher standard than Tyson Fury, who's still a fucking champion.
If you're gonna have these kinds of standards for anybody, it should be Fury, not AJ, because he's not a champion. He ain't got a belt. What else should he be doing?
Is there something else that he should be doing? What, is there some other fight you'd like to see him in?
This fight doesn't stop him from having that fight. Underneath it all, what it really is, Carl and a lot of people, they feel AJ's gonna win. They just don't want to give him credit. So he calls this a lose-lose situation.
Bullshit.
Enough already.
Some Tyson Fury fans propping up this narrative that because Fury went in blind. So one Tyson Fury fan, a friend of the channel that goes by the name Unorthodox Boxing Gear, say that Anthony Joshua knows that Francis Ngannou did so well back in October, and he has the advantage of being able to prepare for something.
Oh, because Tyson Fury was unprepared?
Prepare for something that is known.
Because Tyson Fury needed more preparation for a guy who never boxed before.
Fury and his people were working in the dark.
He doesn't have enough experience already for a novice?
Fury and his people were working in the dark, and it showed. When all it really is Tyson Fury didn't take the assignment seriously, and you don't want to admit that, knowing that Anthony will take the assignment seriously, and because of that, he might do better. See, these Tyson Fury fans, they don't like what this means. That if Anthony goes in there and does the job that Tyson Fury was supposed to do, well, that makes Fury look bad, doesn't it?
Kinda like how Tyson Fury labored with Otto Wallin, where Anthony Joshua, he beat him easy.
And with less preparation, because the Day of Reckoning card was an impromptu card. It was made on short notice.
In a hurry.
Anthony Joshua beat Otto Wallin a lot easier than Tyson Fury did, and he may end up beating Francis Ngannou in the same fashion. The Fury fans, they don't like that at all.
They want to maintain this illusion that he's this era's premier heavyweight while he's laboring with the likes of an Otto Wallin and getting knocked on his ass by Francis Ngannou, guy who never had a boxing match.
I think most people forgot that because Tyson Fury was expected to beat Francis Ngannou easy, the Usyk fight was supposed to happen right after that. The Usyk fight was supposed to have happened last year, but because this guy got all banged up in the Ngannou fight, they moved it to early this year.
And then they had to move it again because of Tyson Fury.
Because he got a cut.
So don't start up with the standards, the bar of standard, once Anthony Joshua's involved.
Poor little Fury was working in the dark. He didn't know what to expect. If he's this era's premier heavyweight, he shouldn't need but so much preparation for a guy who's never boxed before.
The fuck?
How do you have all these standards for Anthony Joshua, who you don't even like, but you have no standards for Tyson Fury? If anything, you should have all those standards for him, since he's supposed to be better. And bear in mind that Tyson Fury's still talking about running it back with that same Francis Ngannou. He's still saying he'd like to do a rematch with that guy.
What they don't like.
That this Friday, if Anthony Joshua beats Francis in better fashion than Fury, he will have done in one fight what Fury might need two to do.
2 fights.
Because what does it mean that Tyson Fury wants to run it back with this guy? What does it mean that he wants a rematch? You won the first fight, didn't you?
Well, I see people saying they're not going to give Anthony any credit for beating this guy.
Well, Tyson Fury needs 2 fights with him. 2 fights for one decisive victory, where people aren't left scratching their heads and asking themselves,
Who really won?
there are risks. There are risks involved, but there are always risks in the heavyweight division where the average guy is anywhere in between 6'3" to 6'7".
275 pounds? Yeah, that's risky.
But don't think you're gonna move the goalpost and I don't call you out on it. Don't think you're gonna move the goalpost.
Bullshit.
It's more of the same fucking bullshit. It's unfortunate that this is what this kid has to deal with, because they constantly do this to him.
Just shut the fuck up and enjoy the show.
Let's not bullshit each other here, alright? You guys are moving the goalposts now because you don't want to give AJ credit later. You don't want to give him credit later because you'd rather keep hyping up Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is what this is all about. Anthony Joshua had some words for Tyson Fury. He said, if I put Fury on his ass, I wouldn't let him up. Me and Fury are completely different beasts. Genetically, strength, mindset. I was boxing Fury up in the amateurs when he used to come down to Finchley. I've always been on a different trajectory to Fury. He's done well, of course. He's done very well. But give me an opportunity to fight Fury and I'll show you what I'm about.
What's this love affair that people have with Tyson Fury?
He's inconsistent. He's consistently inconsistent, unreliable. Why are they so enamored with him? And what it really is he is a reflection of who they are. They look at this fat fucking slob.
This pathological liar, this contradictorian, they recognize those characteristics on him that they see in themselves.
But Tyson Fury isn't perfect, and he doesn't try to be perfect, and that's what endears him, at least to them.
That's what endears him to them.
But nobody thinks Anthony Joshua's perfect.
He's just more of a consummate professional. He's just more consistent.
You say that Tyson Fury would never lose to a guy like Andy Ruiz. Well, I'd say Anthony Joshua would never need a gift decision over a John McDermott. I'd say that Anthony Joshua can go in there with the same Otto Wallin that Tyson Fury fought and not get his face all sliced up.
You'll say that, well, Anthony Joshua's got 3 losses.
Yeah, he does. And 2 of them are to Alexander Usyk, who Tyson Fury is about to fight. And it seems like you've got to twist Tyson Fury's fucking arm to get him in the ring with that guy. When he does get in the ring with that guy, you better hope he wins.
You better.
Because you don't get to talk shit anymore if he doesn't. You don't get to lord that over Anthony Joshua if Tyson Fury loses to the same guy that beat him. Now you peas in a pod.
And there's only one way to settle it.
The rivalry between yous. Though let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anthony's got to make it past Francis Ngannou first, and I think that he can. I think that he's going to.
Here's why.
I think he's a stronger puncher than Tyson Fury. Punch for punch, I think he can land on Francis Ngannou with more authority than the herky-jerky, fidgety Tyson Fury, who's often fighting on the balls of his feet, so he's not sitting on his punches.
You're gonna say, but he came forward on Wilder. He was sitting on his punches with Wilder.
Yeah, he was, but that's the only time we've seen him do that.
Yeah.
The rest of the time he's moving around, he's creating space, he's on the balls of his feet. He was only that way with Wilder. He wasn't that way with anybody else.
Enough about Fury.
I think Anthony can land on Francis with more authority than Fury did, and I think Anthony's got underrated speed.
He doesn't look that fast because the guy's about 6'6", 245 pounds. He's not a speedster, but he's speedier than your average guy that size. He's got good snap on the jab, good snap on the right.
Good speed in those feet. When Anthony wants to, he can use the ring too. He can move lateral. He can create space like he did with Andy Ruiz, keeping him at arm's length.
Keeping the jab in front of him.
And the way he throws the jab, it's a stiffer jab than Tyson Fury's jab. Tyson Fury's got more of a flick jab.
Fidgety jab.
Not as much power on it. The jab is key. The jab is how I think Anthony's going to break down Francis Ngannou, who in the Fury fight seems to have been working off the counter.
When he knocked Tyson Fury down with that counter left hand, that was when Fury lunged in to land a right.
Anthony's going to give Francis his power all the respect that Tyson Fury didn't give him. He won't make that mistake. Move around. Touch him with the lead hand.
Jabs up top, small jabs to the body, jabs to the solar plexus.
Maybe he shoots a lead right hand to the belly to distract him.
Setting up a left hook over the top.
And don't forget that he's got Ben Davison in his corner now. Ben's boxing brain, what is an underrated trainer.
To keep him focused.
Ben's handiwork is evident in the surge we've been seeing from Lee Wood as of late in his career. He could have that same effect on Anthony. So I like Anthony Joshua to punish Francis Ngannou round after round, break him down and take him out late.